Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Welcome back to Discuss and Continue.
Thank you for that answer. That was really...
I'm sorry, I was referring to the Italians. Just
No, I think you touched on a lot of things that are quite pressing for us at Columbia, in the US, in the world at large. I mean, you went around the issue, but I think I'll kind of bring it in. Politics. In America, we're more and more divided than before and quite polarized. For me, this is something that troubles me as someone in this community that has some less than popular opinions sometimes. I'm conscious of how I'm received because of people who are, quote, passionate of these identities that their intellects defend, to use your words. How can I, and others that share, I guess, my desire to bring people together in a divided world, divided community, even a divided street, how can we kind of be individual actors to get people to focus on everything you just said, what we have in common, and not what sets us apart?
So, my best answer for this, and my best answer for this is to be good, to try to do good for the community, prove to them they are wrong about you. It's the only thing you can really do. It's up to every other individual to work themselves out, discover themselves, who they really are, whether they're lying to themselves or not, about the things that they believe.
see, to find solutions for any problems or any situations, because many people think it's not a problem, all right? So, to address any situation, first of all, we must face the situation as it is. Now you're saying it is getting more and more divided. I don't think so. I think it's always was divided. You may not face it. Well, many of us face it, I face it. Every time I come to the immigration, the way they talk to me, why? Why, just looking at my face, you should see the way they address me.
I'd be curious. I mean, don't get me wrong, like, they probably see many people that look like Sadhguru, and they have to talk a particular way so that they can understand them. Until they know you, you know what I'm saying? They can't… It's it's hard to, it's just like, look, most people that, let's say, just say Chinese, for example. Most people who come over here that are Chinese don't understand English. Let's just use that as an example. So you have, but they maybe understand a little bit of English. So you speak to them in such a way that you've learned that, you know, if you speak this way, they'll understand you. So you'll speak that way until you realize they can understand you like a normal, I don't want to say normal person because obviously they're normal for themselves, but like someone who speaks American, speaks American, not English. But yes, and I wouldn't blame anyone if they spoke to me really weird. I'd probably laugh, but that's me though. That's the thing. I'd find it more funny, and I'd probably want them to continue that. There's a movie called Rush Hour with Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker? Yes. And the way Chris talks to Jackie throughout a long part of that movie was hilarious because Jackie actually understood English, and Chris was like, "Why are you letting me talk to you like this? You understood English all this time?" But, you know.
Does that make you angry?
No. When somebody acts stupid, why will I get angry? When somebody is exhibiting how small they are, compassion, not anger, isn't it? Pity.
So again, this is why I try to understand, real quick. In my work, I work in a certain department. We get calls, and my coworkers think the people on the other end are stupid. I don't. I understand that they don't understand computers. I understand that they're afraid to do something to… I guess I can't reveal it. Anyway, they're afraid to do something to the equipment. So they don't really touch it and don't do anything. They just call the number, says, you know, we're having trouble, can you help us out? And I'm like, you know, I get it. Either they don't know how to do it, or, you know, they're too afraid to do something about it, and I completely understand.
If I'm in a bad mood, pity. If I'm in a good mood, compassion. Anger is not the thing because you're just showing how small a egg you are. You're still an egg, you are not hatched, that's all I'm saying. So, you must understand, very deep-rooted divides have always existed in this society. You don't want to face it. You've been glossing over it for a long time. You can't… I'm sure you're not naive enough to believe in just 2.5 years of your celebrity president, suddenly country has become divided? Come on. It always was divided. Now the language has reached the top. Yes or no? It's just that the language is coming to the surface. I think it's better come to the surface than just boil inside forever. At least let everybody face it, this is what we are. Hello? You must face it. I'll tell you, I come to the immigration. I follow all the rules. I have a global entry, all right? I come. After I pass the immigration, because constantly I'm in all kinds of bright lights, so these fluorescent lights kind of irritate me, so I wear my shades. After I've crossed the immigration, when I come to the baggage, do you know what? This not happened once, this happened a few times. They asked me to come and take off my glasses. I said, why? They said, you want to come to my office? I'm saying, what the hell are you trying to enforce on me? There are many others, white Americans walking around with glasses. You don't ask them to take it off today, I'm telling you in 21st century, all right? So you don't believe you are a just and fair society, suddenly because of a new president something has happened. I'm glad he's bringing it to the surface. The leadership is talking that language.
I will say that at the very least is very true. That president coming into power was very interesting, and it's really sad, honestly. Though it really is. Not that he came to presidency, but all the things that's always been boiling over in America started to surface. And then now we start realizing what America it kind of is. Not completely. Obviously, I think still majority of Americans are still very nice and kind. But the sheer fact that this underlying boiling, festering thing in America came to rise. And obviously the news is going to report about it because it's what gets the views, Anything that's hot topic or divisive or conflicting is going to make the news. So you'll see a lot of that, but it's not the reality of any place, generally speaking, on the news. But it's what gets them views.
Well, it's been there, you may not face it. You may not face it because of the color of your skin. Many of us are facing it. Yes. If you walk into some of these golf clubs and stuff, I can play better than them. But if I walk in there and say hello, they'll just look through me. All right? So, if somebody is going to be hurt by this, they could be hurt. I'm not that kind. I just see it's their pathetic condition of mind, that they're like that. So it doesn't bother me, but suppose I'm seeking a job or I want to do something else, I'm sure they would make sure that things don't work for me. Yes or no? So this is not a new happening, it's been there. Maybe slowly things are changing, but I think it's good it's coming to the surface, it's up in your face, you're facing it, you're embarrassed by it, it's a good thing. That is a first step to transformation. Am I saying something wrong?
Now, I don't think necessarily that they would hinder him at all. Most Americans are very accepting, again. It depends on where you are, I suppose. That could be very much a factor. But also at the same time, if you can prove that they judge you based on your skin color, you will be set for life. There's been many accusations that arise in the news because they think it was racist. But whenever they did the evidence and all that, never came to pass. And I remember there's a bakery, and the bakery actually, it was a bakery. Anyways, they were accused, their business went out of business because of the accusation. They went to court, found out it was false. They sued a school, and they made their money. But the sad truth of the matter is, because of a false accusation, they can't do the bakery anymore. But maybe they're happy now. They're probably set for life because they sued that school for a lot of money. Now they probably don't have to work. Now, I don't know if that was a passion project or not. If it was, it's a sad thing because this is something like they probably like to do to the community, cook stuff for the community. Sometimes that's what a lot of people like to do, is to provide for the community. It's not necessarily about the money. But if it's for the money, they just made bank.
First step to transformation is now it's out in the world. We see it. It's something, in India also we have divisions at an all-time high. What's now that second step that we can take as individuals going into the society?
To improve it.
See, again, you're repeating that. Even in India, it's an all-time high. It's not at an all-time high.
It's always been.
It is just people and media is playing it up at a certain level, all right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in a democratic society, there should be a free press. Unfortunately, all media across the world is owned by some corporation or the other. It is no more free. It is no more free, it is tangled up with money, big time. There are no more dedicated journalists. I'm not saying they're not at all there. Largely they're not there, they're all serving a company, all right? Yes or no? Hello?
A little caveat to that. Luckily enough, we're getting independent journalism because of YouTube. However, I think they're going down roughly the same road too, for the most part. There are going to be some that can be completely unbiased. And the reason why I'm saying they're going down the same road is because when they report on news against a certain side, it's not because they want to go against a certain side, but they're just more news against that side. Then your audience becomes the opposite side of what you're going against. So if you're going against the left, you'll get a whole bunch of right-wing people. If you're going against the right, you get a whole bunch of left-wing people. And then when you start talking about the left, let's just, for this example, you're going against the right because the right's like in power at the moment and they're corrupt at the moment. And then you get a whole bunch of left-wing people. But then your news is trying to be neutral. But if you start talking bad about the left, your audience is going to start leaving because they're left, not left-leaning, but just like further left, ones who wants to be in an echo chamber. Same thing happens whenever you're talking about the left and the right are your audience. I've seen that kind of happen with a few YouTubers that I used to watch, and it's kind of sucks, honestly. So it's kind of hard to, you kind of just have to pick a news that's on the left and then on the right and kind of find the in between.
It is time we produce some journalists, because media is not just another profession in a democratic society. It is an important pillar of democracy. Yes? Without it, democracy will slowly go away into something else. Because democracy means every 4 years or 5 years, depending on what's the term, a new set of people are going to rule the nation. It could be a complete mess if there is no checks and balances of various kinds. These are all going away because people have taken sides beforehand. Today in America, in India also we know now, it was not so some time ago, but these days we know which media belongs to which party, everybody knows. How can it be media? You can't call it media anymore, I'm saying. Yes? Media means what? They will report what is there, they can give a commentary about something. But essentially their business is to throw the facts at us. It's for us to form our opinions about what facts that come to us. But today, don't you already know which media belongs to which party?
Yep.
So, when this is the condition, you'll hear a lot of things, and there is social media, anonymous journalists, those who don't dare to put their name on what they're saying, they are saying all kinds of things. But you walk through the country and see, whether it's India or here, it is just the same as it was. There are problems and there are solutions, both are happening, isn't it? So, if you go off television and switch off your phone and walk on the street, you will see everything is quite fine.
And that's why I say, generally speaking, I'm sure this is happening everywhere else as well. If you like, it's not crazy where I live. To a degree, on one side it is, but really not so much. I mean, the media, social media, news outlets will show these things and make it seem like it's happening all the time. Now, don't get me wrong, it is happening. It's something that you're never conscious of had you not tuned in to the TV, the news. It's something that we should be conscious about, but understand that it does happen, it always has happened, and it's not something new. We do need to find solutions, and maybe it's not so bad around your neighborhood, I don't know. Yeah, it was really kind of strange. I guess it was kind of a bit of an eye-opener between 2016 to 2020. It's during election years is when you're going to start. I'm wondering what's going to be showing up on the media in the election years this year.
I just have one more follow-up. For, I guess, young future business leaders in this room, we are at the very center
Why are
of
you
business.
ignoring me?
Oh, yeah, well, you're a fashion icon, a guru, and more. We don't want to limit you just to future business leaders, you know. And you have a great throw of a frisbee where the videos were. But what role can we play when people aren't as enlightened as, I guess, the people in this room and can't really make the same connections as you? Because we do have agency, right? We are people that want to make a difference and are willing to kind of have the courage to, I guess, have compassion or pity, right? Depending on the mood we're in. How do we do this? Because I think like that's something that I genuinely want to play a big role in, if I can be honest. I think it's something that I at least would like my life's purpose to have something with that.
So I'm sure in your own little ways, within the university, some sense of… you're bringing some sense of… I believe you're bringing some sense of equality and some sense of acceptance for all sorts of people within the university. At the same time, do not take this thing about becoming a missionary for something, because then without knowing what's happening to you, one day you will be totally skewed and off the place and you will be the source of problem. Once you take on something with missionary zeal, you will see, you will get so badly identified with it and you yourself will become a source of problem. I think I can share this with you. When I was just 13, 14 years of age, I almost got into armed struggle, all right? This is the time when Che Guevara is our big brother and we are thinking of armed struggle, we think that's the only way to find solutions for India. Well, then I saw people who were espousing this, teachers and, openly in schools and in colleges, professors talking about how you should all join armed struggle. A particular professor who had a sway on a few of us, and his son and his daughter, they were twins, both his son and daughter, they were my classmates. And we are all ready, actually in another 3 to 4 days we are supposed to leave for the jungles of Andhra Pradesh to go and fight. Then I asked this fellow, his name was Ajay, I said, hey, so we're all going, what are we taking? He said, no, I'm not coming. I said, what? No, my father doesn't want me to go. So he wants us to go. He doesn't want his son to go. Then I sat back and thought, what is this about? I thought, we are all in the revolution. Hey, you were revolution. I thought we are all in the revolution and suddenly, okay, the girl is not going because only the boys were going, all right, but at least this boy is supposed to go, he's just my age in my class. But no, father is saying, no, you cannot go because you can't die there, these idiots must die. And actually, I stepped back, I participated in various mildly bordering on revolution, sticking posters and doing this and that, giving that kind of stuff, writing very strong what we thought was justice, but actually when I look back and see, so juvenile and unjust by itself. At that time it looked like this is justice. One thing we must understand, the moment we speak about justice, I know this it's a delicate thing to speak in America.
I generally hate when Sadhguru said this. I don't hate Sadhguru. I hate the fact that he has to say this. I want brute honesty. And American, Sadhguru's trying to be so kind, but the people who needs to hear this needs to hear the brutal honesty of what it is, of what the reality is. It has to be a delicate thing in America. So no. Fucking slap someone's face if you have to wake them up to the reality of the world. Sorry.
But I want you to look at this with absolute openness. The moment we speak about justice, unknowingly, we will talk about revenge.
Yep. Wow. I did not think about that, but whenever I read it and I started thinking about I won't say a lot of things, but the few things that I see come up about justice, he is absolutely right about that. I didn't think about that at all, even during the times when I was seeing that. I knew it wasn't justice that they're looking for, but I didn't know what exactly. They were looking for injustice. They weren't looking for equality or fair justice. They were looking for, I wasn't thinking revenge, but I was thinking for unjust actions and benefits and advantages.
Slowly, we will just slip into that. So, is justice needed? Absolutely. But I'm saying the moment you start talking about it, it's like freedom. The moment you say freedom, you'll start doing freaky things. Because freedom is a consequence. So is justice. Justice is a consequence of a mature society. Justice is not a cause that you take up, because the moment you take it up as a cause, then you will see divisions will happen. You versus me will happen. Once you versus me happens even for the right reasons, all the wrong things will happen, isn't it? Suppose in the name of justice, these two segments of this student body gets divided, even if it's for the right reason, the result will be all the wrong things, isn't it? Hello? So it's very important we understand what is the cause and what is the consequence.
Sad thing is, we know what the cause is. We just don't, to a degree. We know half of the cause and have no idea what the consequence is. Because we can only… a particular side of the spectrum only ever thinks about the present. The other part of the political spectrum thinks about the future. It's really sad. One is intellectual, the other is wisdom. This is the reason why I wish more people were centrist. Centrist, left-leaning, right-leaning, but oh my gosh.
Injustice is a consequence of an immature society. Injustice is a consequence of a limited identities people have taken in so many different ways. If you do not take that and try to bring justice, all you will create is a full-on fight. And when a fight happens, there'll be no justice of any kind. All that'll happen is pain and destruction for all sorts of people. But when you're in that mode, because I know this, because I was so fired up for those few years, I thought I'll go.
Oh.
Two of my friends went. One, I don't know where he disappeared. The other one got killed about 8 years ago. He became a major revolution leader in Karnataka and he got killed by the police. And when his family informed me about this, this boy was so dear to me. He was just 1 year younger to me. Why I'm saying this is, the moment you speak about consequence as a source, you're creating trouble unknowingly. You will create more damage than solution. See, right now, why does injustice happen? Why will I be unjust to you? Simply because my identity and my commitment to well-being is about myself and maybe my family, or maybe my community, not for you. It's already set. It's only a question of time. When you and me come in touch, this prejudice will find expression, but it is set in my heart, isn't it so? Instead of working at what is happening within the human beings, which will take a lifelong commitment to solve. Today we can go out on the street, justice for everybody, justice for everybody. All you need is a, placard and shouting for one day and go back home. So always we will pick up consequences as a cause. Don't do that. Don't talk about freedom, talk about responsibility. If we live responsibly, we will have a free society, isn't it? If we talk about freedom, we will do freaky things. I come from that era where next to revolution was freedom. Okay? We grew up in 60s. Freedom, 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 all that happened is, by the time I became 35, at least 12 to 13 of my very close friends all died, either on motorcycles or because of overdoses. Yes, because freedom. So, freedom, justice, equality, these are all consequences of evolving a human being to a certain level of maturity. If you are not willing to do that work on individual level, that each human being here evolves to that level of maturity, if that you're not willing to do, these things will only cause more trouble.
I have to look at the audience here now. I want those… the ladies on About This Row talking about. And then the lady over here with her mouth. I was like, "Ooh, that's that's quite a lot to talk about." So that's a very interesting topic you talked about. I understood it to a degree, but freedom as a consequence. He said that was it 12 to 13 of his friends died. I assumed it was going to be for the war, but it was from alcoholism and motorcycle freedom. So I was a bit… I was like, wait, what does it have to do with the war, the freedom war, armed fight? Maybe perhaps because they did fight in that war, that they have PTSD, they drank themselves to death, or they were running away from their problems in the motorcycle and crashed into something, maybe?
I think it's a very related question, but really targeted towards organized religion and something that I've struggled with. So I understand, the pursuit of freedom, justice, but oftentimes what I've struggled with in regards to religion, I grew up Catholic, I'm Catholic, is its view and limited acceptance of the LGBT community. And the fact that I am LGBTQ and trying to understand how I fit in, and oftentimes I was not accepted. It depended on, how progressive a church was, but how do you see religion playing a role in the justice, in being more tolerable, compassionate towards people from different sexualities?
My answer to that, they don't. Religion… playing a role in justice, it doesn't. Religion, I don't believe, does. It's… religion itself is not supposed to be an external thing. It's supposed to be all internal, individual, internal people. You go to church, you learn about God and whatever else you learn in church, but it's more for the individual than necessarily the community. Church is a group, it's a way for you as an individual, but there's a community can develop from the church where you have this thing that just so happens to be part of the church, because you group together and you have this commonality of whatever religion it is to start helping each other, a community. Community in church, in my perspective, I just now thought about this, is that the church itself is about individuals' help or realization. Realizing how much you should love God and how much you should give up, in a sense, the material things in this world, because you're not going to need it. So you're not so tied to the material things in life, but more for devotion. Again, bhakti yoga here. Very much that. And then because a lot of people tend to have cookouts in the church. Like after church service, they generally bring food and they eat together. It's a community, something separate from the church but linked to the church at the same time. The commonality is the church that they go to and the religion that they follow. So there's a community attached to that where they help each other and accept each other that way. A community doesn't have to be from a church, but it just so happens to be in this one. So in terms of playing a role in justice, it's not. It shouldn't be. Again, church for individuals, not groups of people, individuals. Now, you can ask for help from the pastor. Maybe they can teach you some teachings, but it's more for individual people. Even though it's a group problem, it attacks individually, and you must come up with a solution to yourself of what the problem is and how to fix it, generally speaking. Tolerable, well, again, individual. It depends. So now, in terms of, like, I guess getting the church to be oh Jesus, in terms of getting the what do you call it, the church to
It towards people from different sexualities.
now that's going to be based on the pasture. You know, a church have been a bit more accepting of that, but yeah, that's going to be something else different. That's going to be per church basis. I don't know if all of them follows the book to the letter or not, because obviously I think most church don't anyway, but they pick and choose which one they want to follow for the most part. But that, at least that last bit, I don't know. Justice, nothing. It's about the individual, not about, you know, dictating rules or anything like that. Tolerable. Well, that's what individual, the thing that you study is supposed to teach you, how to be tolerable or whatever towards people. Accepted. Yeah, I mean, that too, for sure. Let's go ahead.
A bishop went to the mental asylum, not as a patient but to give a talk. So they gathered people like this. He spoke. Nobody was listening to what he was saying, they were all busy with their own things. But there was just one guy in the front row who, without batting an eyelid, was listening and drinking up every word that he was talking. Nobody else, not a single person was listening except this one guy. After an hour-long speech, the moment the talk was over, that guy got up, went there, like there is a dean in the hall, there was a medical professional there. He went to him, said something to him, and then left. So the bishop was very eager to know what that guy said, because nobody else was listening, he was the only guy listening. So bishop inquired with the doctor, what did that guy say? He was listening to me very keenly. So the doctor said, he just asked, why am I in and why is he out?
As a follow-up, what are your thoughts on human sexuality?
Whoa, hold on. Did he answer the question? Talking about religion is crazy?
Oh, I didn't think about it, but I was born out of it. I'm a consequence.
Someone had fun.
But I think, so one thing that you've mentioned previously is that sexuality shouldn't be promoted. I think that was in one of your talks, and so I'm curious, kind of, I assumed, and again, this is my assumption, that when you mentioned that, I almost felt as though, you know, don't publicize your gayness, or don't publicize your non-gayness, and so I'm trying to understand why you said that.
Okay, before he answers, it's… Again, she's going with identities here, which is the problem. It's like, oh, gayness or non-gayness, like identities here.
But I thought this is one aspect of life which doesn't need publicity. Anyway, people will go for it. Doesn't need any marketing, I think.
Marketing.
Hello? If you want to sell a drink, you have to market it. If you make a movie, you have to market it. If you write a book, you have to market it. Sexuality does not need marketing. Hello? It's been on for a million years without any marketing, all right? So I said, why are you publicizing it? Everybody will do what they have to do. What individual people do with their bodies is their business, it's not of public debate.
Oh, I'm wondering if it talks about, like, I guess, the homosexuality in that one, and where maybe Sadhguru made a comment about it. It's like, you don't need to tell everyone about this. I guess perhaps some people took offense to that, not realizing that, you know, there's this gay or homosexuality versus heterosexuality versus going on again, because again, Sadhguru talks about the limited identities. Absolutely, it's like there's no publicizing of straight sex out there, but there seems to be that much in terms of the homosexuality. I mean, not so much, but it's a little bit out there. There's no real need for it. I mean, if you partake in whatever sex you want, it's fine, as long as they're consenting, they're adults, and you agree upon it. Otherwise, who cares? You know. Still. Oh no, that's okay. I'm actually gonna pause it right here. But yes, I mean, I'm curious as to what happened with that one. Like, again, look, if you're two grown adults and you both consent to it, who cares what other people think? There's no need to be out and about publicizing and telling the world about it. Sure, maybe you tell your friends and family, like who you love and whatnot. That's perfectly fine. And you don't have to tell like some strangers, like, hey, I'm banging that person. Like, why do they need to know this? They don't. Why are you broadcasting? Why are you marketing it? Yeah, and it seems to be very prominent in the LGBTQ whatever community. I think it's because they feel that they've been oppressed for so long, and I'm sure they have been, especially in a lot of parts. And they kind of just want to, I guess, reveal it. And don't get me wrong, I think it sucks that they were oppressed, or not oppressed necessarily, but like demonized and attacked for their sexuality. It's terrible. You should never attack someone because, you know, they like a different kind of person. What? Stupid. Anyways, and that now that it's a bit more accepting in the society, that they have to kind of broadcast it out. I don't know. I mean, I don't ever care for broadcasting anything. I don't care for ever, like, you know, having my name praised to the stars or whatever, you know, like, and mind you, I'm not just talking about sexuality here. I'm talking about like people who seek attention in a sense, because that happens across the border. But it's just, why really? If you're doing something, you should do it because you like it, not because you have to broadcast it or whatever. Anyways, really went kind of deep into that one. So anyways, that's part 2 of this one. If you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.